Okay, hi, my name is Byron, and the purpose of this presentation is to examine work and stress as social determinants and the health outcomes and the relationship between them. The Australian Institute of Health and Welfare states that a determinant is a factor that influences health. The two determinants that I'm focusing on in the PowerPoint are work and stress. An individual's workplace and employment conditions have immediate and delayed impacts on health outcomes. These immediate impacts are linked to an individual's control over their work and have strong correlation to risk of lower back pain, sickness absences, and cardiovascular disease, which can also create stress in the workplace. An example of the link between control over an individual's workplace and health outcomes can be seen in Figure 1. These risks can be attributed to factors such as ergonomically inappropriate workplaces, exposure to harmful substances, and injury risks. In addition, health outcomes affected by the workplace can be seen in this graph provided on screen. It is apparent that the disparity in disability-adjusted life years in low socioeconomic groups in comparison to higher SES groups, which is particularly larger in males, thus putting them at higher risk. With lower SES groups having less control over their work, it contributes to a higher burden of disease, with chronic diseases that were preventable. As mentioned previously, there are indirect health implications that can be attributed to working conditions. This could include inconsistent working hours where they can't get enough work, or also working excessively long hours in a job with high demand. These unpredictable working conditions can create stressful situations, which can cause people to adopt unhealthy behaviours such as smoking, alcohol use, and overeating as a coping mechanism, which would significantly increase the risk of chronic disease. Stress can form as a result of social and psychological circumstances and can arise in many aspects of life and is independent on other social determinants. As stated by Wilkinson and Marmot, the body's response to stress can divert energy and resources away from physiological processes that are important to an individual's long-term health. Stress for a brief amount of time will cause little to no effects on the body, but if it's prolonged for long periods of time, this can increase the risk of a wide array of chronic health conditions. These conditions include infections, diabetes, high blood pressure, heart attack, stroke, depression, and aggression. Although there are biomedical responses to stress, such as the use of prescription drugs to control stress, there has been policy implications to allocate resources equitably to prevent or reduce chronic stress. These resources can include things such as improving the quality of the social environment, material security, and crisis support services. The interrelatedness of work and stress can be seen in the poor working conditions and environments. Factors in the workplace that can cause stress, like as previously mentioned, employees not receiving enough hours of work or working an excessive amount of hours, high demanding jobs and low control, as well as inadequate rewards for employees. As a result of this stress created by poor working conditions, evidence as stated by Wilkinson and Marmot displays that it plays an important role in creating a large social status difference in health, sickness, absence, and premature death. Furthermore, stress and working conditions have worsened due to COVID-19 and the labour force and income changes. During April, average hours worked for employees around the nation fell 9.2%, and 20% of those employed in March either left their jobs or had their work hours reduced in April. This dynamic and unstable labour force, further impacted by COVID-19, in turn creates stress for individuals in the workforce, which will have long-term indirect effects due to inequalities. In conclusion, working conditions play an important role in the impact on the lives of individuals. This is made evident by the condition of the working environment and job control, which furthermore can cause stress in the workforce. Particularly, prolonged stress can cause long-term chronic conditions, further contributing to the burden of disease. This concludes the presentation on work and stress. I highly recommend using that reference list to explore the other social determinants to gain a better understanding on how they affect health.